everybody. Welcome back again to Austin Sports Weekend with Austin the Man himself here again. It is time to talk some NFL football. We are already up to week 15. We have finished week 14.
Let's
up to
recap week
15.
14 first.
Yeah, and before we get started again, thanks again to SevereTV.com for setting us up in studio here. And thanks again to Autographs Plus for always setting us up with a couple good helmets. Got a little Josh Allen. Got a little Devontae over here,
and
too.
boy, we have a game to start off this one.
Oh, boy, yeah. Man, we had some good Thursday games starting out the year. And then the last few weeks, the Thursday games have been
Just abysmal.
it's pretty bad. This week, the Patriots-Steelers. Now, 10 years ago, this was prime time. This was a prime time game.
Big Ben versus Tom Brady.
This year,
You got
backup quarterbacks. I don't even know if I remember the names of the quarterbacks because they're both backups. Kenny Pickett's out.
somehow
and
the
Mac Jones got
Patriots
benched.
offense pulled 21 points out of their butt.
Yeah,
literally.
the Steelers lost 21. I would have never, ever. The Steelers lost the Patriots lost 6-0
against the Chargers.
against the Chargers the week before. So they couldn't score 0 points against the Chargers defense, which is bad. And then you come back and you score 21 points against the Steelers defense.
That's just
Makes 0 sense whatsoever. None. It makes no sense whatsoever. But congrats to the Patriots.
the Steelers have lost 2 straight games to teams that have 2 or 10.
Yeah. Now, if the Steelers play the Bills this week, they might beat them. But if they play the Jets might win. You just really don't know. This year's been a very, very strange year. There's a lot of even out there. There's a lot of 7-6. A lot of 6-7, there's a lot of even teams out there, and even some of the medium of the road teams aren't that good. So I don't know, it's weird. Let's just go ahead and jump on into the Sunday games. Talk about our 2 teams first. Your poor Panthers at the Saints,
Getting their heads kicked in
28
once again.
28-6.
This team sucks. This team
That was their
is
first game without their coach, so
And they still sucked.
It was an interim coach. There might be a little bit of leftover from Reich, Maybe there's a little leftover. Maybe it'll take them a week or 2 to build a new system and get it going. That's what I'm trying to think of the positives here for you. Trying to be positive.
Are you trying? Because it feels like I'm in the depths of the ocean right now.
No, you got PTSD. You got the
Post-traumatic suck
disorder because your team sucks.
They don't just suck; they are awful.
They're awful. I'm hoping that after a couple weeks away from the rock system, that they can develop a new flow. I'm hoping they get a new
Reich
flow
didn't
going.
even want to have an RPO in his offense.
How can you have Bryce Young and not have an RPO?
There's no run pass option, nothing. It's just absolute travesty.
So
I don't know. I'm just in the pits right now with this team. They're 1-12 and they don't have a number 1 pick. That's off to Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago gets the number 1 pick because of the trades. Yeah,
And they have DJ Moore,
DJ Moore. Yeah,
who's leading the Bears in receiving yards as of this moment.
yes, they are. Yes. Say positives. We need to think about positives. Bryce Young is a fantastic quarterback. I still think he's a fantastic quarterback. I watched him too much in college, cook everybody. Even with, who was his offensive quarterback then?
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien is one of the worst coaches in football, and Bryce Young looks good with him as his offensive coordinator.
Bill O'Brien has the butt chin, and every time you got the butt chin on your sideline, something is bound to mess up.
He's the offensive coordinator for the Patriots that lost 6-0. Now, they scored 21 against the Steelers, which is weird. But, yeah. But anyways.
You're trying to make me not go down that your wormhole with Jerry Jones.
Oh, yeah, I'm still. Let's go ahead and talk about the Cowboys. The Eagles went to the Cowboys. The Cowboys won 33-13.
But you still have that wormhole of yours.
I still got that wormhole. They won on the defense. Believe it or not, the Cowboys scored 33 points, but 3 fumbles and fumble recoveries is really what turned to this game.
Yeah, the Eagles were sloppy.
Yeah, there was turnover by the quarterback, turnover by both.
I think the Cowboys
starting
only
wide
punted
receivers.
once.
Yeah, they did only put. The Cowboys only punted, I think, once out of the last 3 games. They play good at home. They are
Unbeaten at home.
They are unbeaten at home. They are 6-0 at home, but they are 3-3 on the road, and they are about to go into a tough schedule. But congrats to my Cowboys. It's good. It's always good to beat the Eagles. It's always good to beat the Eagles. All right, we got the Bucks at the Falcons. This was for the lead.
In the NFC South,
In the
which is
NFC
a terrible division.
It is a terrible division. The leader of the NFC South is now 6-7.
The Bucks
That
with
is
Todd Bowles.
Tampa Bay is 6-7. Atlanta 6-7, and Tampa Bay with that win over the matchup.
Todd Bowles is leading his division.
That tells you, I don't know. Todd Bowles again is a great defensive mind. I love him as a defensive coordinator. I take him on any team as a defensive coordinator. He's not much of a head coach though.
I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole if I was a head coaching candidate.
No, but they're winning that division at 6-7. So
Even though there isn't much to really boast about.
that's
by
not
winning
much
that.
to boast about. No, but I think aren't all three of the first three teams 6-7? Aren't
Yeah.
the Saints 6-7 too. 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. But the Bucks
Panther-
the Bucks have won their matchup, so they get first place out of the 6-7.
And my Panthers just being absolutely pitiful. In
Back
that
down to that
division.
again. They're 1-12. Yeah. Oh, we got the Colts, Bengals.
The Colts didn't show up.
How about the backup quarterback
How
for the
about
Bengals?
Jake Browning?
How about Jake Browning? I had not honestly paid much attention to Jake Browning outside of college.
Coming out of Washington.
Yeah, he came out of Washington, and you didn't pay much attention to him then because he was in Washington. All of his games were at midnight, so you didn't get to see him a lot. He
Unless
seems
you're
to
in
be,
SoCal.
unless you're in SoCal, but he seems to be doing pretty good.
Trying to lead the Bengals afloat into a possible playoff berth.
He was 18 of 24,
Surely got
275,
enough
2 TDs,
talent.
and
He's got
one
enough
pick.
talent to do it.
hmm
He's got plenty of talent around.
There's
him.
plenty of talent on that team, so if he can hold the team together, then they might. I don't know. I'd had him picked to go to the Super Bowl at the beginning of the year.
They're obviously not going to without Joe Burrow.
No, they're going to do that without Joe Burrow, but they're winning some games that they could have easily lost. So
Jake Browning is managing the game, and that's exactly what you would want.
yeah, they are at 7-6, and they could squeak into the playoffs because there's I wonder how many teams are backed up at 7-6 now? Like
A
8?
country mile.
There's like 7-6 all the way down to
There's
AFC
make a
there.
Spider-Man meme out of it all.
Mhm.
Like, are you 7-6?
No, you're
No,
7-6. We had the Jaguars, Browns.
How about Joe Flacco
Joe Flacco threw for over 300 yards.
and 3 TDs?
In his second, like I said, 3 weeks ago, he was making potato salad with his wife on the couch.
Now he's throwing touchdowns.
Now he's throwing for 300 yards against the division-leading Jaguars.
Maybe he's got a little left in the tank after all at 38.
He's definitely got something in his tank because a 300-yard passing game is good. I mean, that's good in anybody's book.
Plus, the Browns' defense did pick off at clearly ailing Trevor Lawrence. I don't know why he was starting in this game. 3
Yeah.
picks for him on a pretty rough day for the Jaguars.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me a little bit is they only rushed for really 22 times with their 2 starting running backs, and they passed for 45. I don't know how much Flacco can hang on throwing 26 for 45.
Well,
Throwing 45 times and only running 22.
remember, it's Stachadsky this week.
Yep, we'll just see how
Does he
long
continue, does he continue
theory
to
could
be
work.
a Chadsky?
because I don't know. But congrats to them.
The Browns have 8-5, and if they
They
keep
are
winning,
they're 8-5. So I mean, they're right in the thick of things. If they keep winning, they will be in the playoffs. We had the Texans, Jets.
This is a
What the
bizarro
crap?
game.
Yeah. This is just about as confusing as the Patriots.
It's like trying to
Steelers.
solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded.
Wilson couldn't find the end zone
In either,
3-4 weeks ago,
and now he's
and he
thrown
comes
for
in
like
and
3
scores
touchdowns
30 comes in and scores 30 points
against the Texans.
against the Texans, and the Texans only got 6 points. Now
they're-
we knew the Jets' defense was good,
Yes.
but I didn't know they were that good. But of course, whenever your offense puts up 30 points,
And
it
Nathaniel
takes the pressure.
And when you have Nathaniel Hackett as your offensive coordinator, that does add more pressure.
It does add a little bit more pressure. Yeah, Wilson came in. They had to bring him off the couch because he had already quit this year. Bring him back in, and he decided to play. And again, congrats to the Jets.
But the Texans got to deal with like C.J. Stroud having to deal with a concussion at his first concussion, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is one thing that hurt them in that game was
He got knocked out with a concussion.
yeah injuries. I mean, how many starting quarterbacks have we lost this year? Now we've lost we'll talk about it here in just a second, but we've lost another starting quarterback. Jump on down to Rams Ravens.
Well, this
that
was
a
a
game.
Yeah, that was quite a game.
That was basically it felt like a playoff game because they were really both going at it. It was good.
And all it took was one little punt return to end the game.
Went into overtime 31-31.
All they had to do was just catch the punt and run it to the end zone.
Yeah, and the Ravens caught the punt. Rams got the ball, punted. Ravens caught the ball, ran it back. Game over. So it wasn't an offensive score, wasn't a defensive score.
Special teams
How
score.
many overtimes are ended by special team scores?
Very rare. It is a rarity.
It's a rarity. But congrats to the Ravens. The Ravens are number one in the
AFC.
at
If they
10
win,
and 3.
all you got to do is win if you're Baltimore, and you got it secure.
Win, and you are home field.
Yeah, Baltimore is not an easy place to go.
No,
play.
it's not. And their game travels well,
And
too.
especially in the past with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, you did not want to play.
I really
Baltimore.
like Ed Reed. He's one of my favorite players of all time. I'm not a Baltimore Ravens fan, but I'm a fan of good players.
And Ed,
Man, Ed Reed was good, man. He was
I
so
could
good.
write a novel about how good he was.
Yeah. I'll jump on down to another just utterly confusing game. Lions-Bears. Bears beat them by 15. What? Where did this Justin Fields come from?
Well, I guess he was unchained. It's the Unchained Bear.
He threw for 223
He came out of
and a
hibernation.
touchdown. But they ran good too. They ran for 150 yards too. Their defense was really good.
And the Bears have a long shot to make the playoffs.
Goff threw for 2 interceptions. He struggled.
And people were
ended up
calling
with
for
a-
Hendon Hooker.
Ended up with a
actually.
QBR of 36.8.
Some people
So-
were calling for Hooker, even
Yeah.
though I don't know if he's
I
fully
don't.
healthy.
I don't think he's been in there practicing long enough. But in the last 3 games, they've lost to the Packers, and then they won the Saints, and then they've lost to the Bears. So
where is the momentum going?
they're up and down, up and down, up and down here lately. So I don't know exactly what's going on with it, to be honest. The Lions looked like they were going to win the division, hands down.
And now there's a bit of
And now there's a
Competition.
There's a bit of a competition. It's the Packers are getting better.
the Vikings are still
The
struggling.
Vikings are struggling, and then
The Bears are
the Bears
starting to surge.
starting to surge a little bit. So that lead the Lions have with
Starting to
with
dwindle.
5 games left doesn't look as big as it did.
Nope.
It doesn't look as big. We had the Vikings Raiders
This
3-0.
was an ugly
Ugly game.
I think we have seen the end of Dobbs Mania.
We might have seen the end of it. Yeah, Kurt Warner got on Twitter X the last couple of days and said that Dobbs shouldn't have been benched. If you go back and look at the film, the team let him down
Constantly.
more than he let the team
The
down.
offensive line was pretty bad for most of his time there.
Kurt Warner said there was dropped passes, there was so much, and then people jumped back on Warner saying they couldn't even get him a field goal range. But it was Kurt Warner did say that he got let down and he shouldn't have been benched. But it's the wave, it's the surge, it's the stuff. So we probably have seen the last of Dobbs Mania, at least at the Vikings level, unless the starter goes in the new starter goes in this week and throws 3 picks in the first half or something. We might see Dobbs back out there again. We don't know.
But I feel like throughout his entire tenure at Minnesota, he's been the scapegoat. And
Oh yeah, he's either been the hero
or the guy who gets blamed for
or
everything.
the guy gets blamed for everything. So the Vikings are sort of in shambles a little bit.
The
now,
offensive line is the biggest problem. Even with Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins was there, he struggled.
Yeah.
Looks like the Vikings need to patch that line.
Yeah. We got the Seahawks, 49ers, and the 49ers are looking
They're back.
pretty good.
They're
yeah.
gonna be back.
They're looking like a team again and look like they can handle it very well, beat the Seahawks by 12. The 49ers, again, are back, probably the Super Bowl favorite out of the NFC. The most controversial game of the week, Bills-Chiefs in Arrowhead.
And the
The
Bills
ref-
got the better end of it.
Yeah, and they almost had a Donnybrook at the end. Not the two teams, the refs and Patrick Mahomes.
I don't usually see him rage like that
No, there was an offsides on the offense called because of
against a much maligned.
a much maligned wide receiver lined up in the neutral zone. He wasn't. He actually wasn't in the neutral zone. His foot was covering up the ball, and that's enough to worry to get a penalty. But in the past,
wasn't called.
coaches normally got a warning on offensive guys being lined up in the neutral zone because think about it. If a defensive guy is lined up in the neutral zone, it's a huge advantage because they're trying to get to the quarterback. So it's a huge advantage if a defensive lineman is lined up offside. An offensive lineman is not going to be lined up offsides because they're off the ball.
Or else it'll be a false start.
So the wide receiver being lined up in the neutral zone gives zero advantage to the offense. There's no advantage to it whatsoever. So normally it's not called. There's just warnings given. Hey, coach, you need to get your guy back there. Make sure you guys back. Now normally the wide receiver does look over at the ref and go, and the ref will give him a hey, you look good or whatever. And Tony did not do that. So I think it's probably 60% Tony's fault. He should have made sure he wasn't lined up in the neutral zone. He should have looked over at the ref and got the thumbs up or whatever. But again, calling a penalty on a wide receiver lined up in the neutral zone is a waste of time because there's zero advantage on the offensive guy for doing it. And it was in the last few minutes of the game, and it was a heat, speed up, get it. So maybe, I don't know. I'm not making excuses for Tony because he can't catch a ball either. But,
the guy's got bricks for hands.
He's got bricks for hands lately too. But but for that good of a game to be decided on a ref's call is tough. I'm a little bit on the Mahomes side there, thinking, man, that's tough to swallow. But it was a penalty. He was lined up in the neutral zone.
All right,
but I don't know.
Let's talk about the problems within the Chiefs' coaching staff.
Oh no, their offensive coordinator got the goal.
Matt the Nag.
Matt Nagy was the head coach where?
At Chicago.
At Chicago. He's already got fired because he couldn't coach at Chicago, and now he's over at the offensive coordinator. He has took one of the best offenses, Super Bowl winning offenses,
and turned it from first to 14th.
And now they look. The Jets had better offensive numbers this week. So
let me tell you about Patrick Mahomes this year. That Matt the Nag, and true, he is a nag.
Yeah, he is. He nags down on offense,
and he's got a career high in interceptions. Career low in quarterback rating. Career low in completion percentage.
Yeah, so that's not a good offensive system. I mean, I'm just guessing, but those numbers would tell me maybe you need somebody else coordinating the thing. I don't know, maybe.
And career low in passing yards in the season so far.
Yeah. And also, what's the record?
8-5.
8-5. At one point, you thought maybe, Denver, the next team we're talking about, is out. They started 1-5. But now Denver's only one game behind the Chiefs for the lead in the division. So they've let a 1-5 team catch up to them.
And it's all thanks to the Nag.
I think it's they got to change that offensive coordinator. Talking about the next game, Broncos Chargers, probably the worst coach probably the worst coach in the NFL right now, don't you think, Staley?
If Josh McDaniels was here, I would say that. But Brandon Staley is my worst coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
He is so bad at making decisions.
They lost 24-7.
And not only that,
at home.
And not only that, they lost Justin Herbert for the year with a broken finger.
Justin Herbert broke a finger, and he is gone for the year. So now he's going to play the next
Easton
5
Stick.
games with a backup quarterback.
Easton Stick.
I don't know if Staley makes it the rest of the year, to be honest.
He shouldn't. I mean, look at all the talent that he's wasted.
I think the only thing that would have saved his job this year is if they would have made the playoffs. And at this point,
clearly they're not.
They're not going to make the playoffs. So I think he's what they call a lame duck coach right now.
He's a lame duck,
duck. He's just a sitting duck. But congrats to the Broncos from starting out 1-5, and now they're 7-6. So they were 1-5.
It takes a good coach like Sean Payton to turn around a team like this.
Yep.
And now he's got Russell Wilson playing his best football in years.
Russell Wilson, like we said last year and the year before, you can't take a Super Bowl MVP and 1 year later he's garbage. There's a cause for that.
And it was the Hackett.
and it was bad coaching. Bad coaching can ruin a player, and it was bad coaching. And now he's got a good coach on him again. Oh, surprise!
And now
Man,
he's
in
playing
the
better.
running for the MVP all of a sudden. Yeah, he's a top 10 quarterback again. What a surprise! Jump into our Monday night games. We had 2 of them this week. 2 Monday night games. Packers Giants. We'll talk about them first. How about those G-men?
And here comes the new craze and the new mania coming in. Tommy DeVito.
Tommy
And his
DeVito.
Italian.
Yeah.
His Italian.
Did you see?
agent.
Did you see his agent? That's
Yeah.
funny, man. He had the pin suit on. The only thing he needed was a Tommy gun and pulling out in a 1922. I mean, 30 cars. It is fun. It's a fun little thing.
And the Giants have won 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah, they've
to pull
won-
themselves into somewhat of a playoff pole position.
Yeah,
here.
they could. Out of a shocker and a surprise, they could.
The
I don't
Giants and the
expect it.
Bears.
It was shocking for them to beat the Packers. I didn't think that they would beat the Packers. I mean, the Packers were sort of rolling a little bit. It was a love fest.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it ain't now. So,
And-
but the Giants and the Packers are both still really in the playoff hunt in the NFC. I don't know if they're going to do any damage if they get in there, but they are. But they are on the playoff hunt. Congrats to the Giants. And they're throwing the ball too.
Jalen Hyatt, and
Jalen
guess
Hyatt,
what?
He got, you throw the ball to him and you win. And our last game, which was the shocker, another shocker, Titans won 28-27 in Miami.
The Dolphins blew a 14-point lead,
They were up 14 points with 3 minutes left,
and they lost.
and they lost. I don't know how you do that. I think at like 2.5 minutes left, it was like a 90% win percentage for the Dolphins, and then a minute later, it was over.
Over with the
You
Titans.
lost, yeah. 28-20. I mean, congrats. Levis threw a pick 6 at the beginning of the game.
And then he just kind of bounced back from that.
You almost think, again, you get that complacency sometimes. I think when you get up 20 points or 15 points or whatever, and you think, and you take a breath, and you think, okay, we've got this one in the bag.
Have they not learned?
And then the other team picks up steam, and you can't stop them. You really have to have that killer mentality. You have to have that killer mentality. But that's our recap of Week 14. Let's jump real quick to Week 15. We do start having some Saturday NFL football this week, but we got a Thursday night game. Oh lordy!
Chargers, Raiders, and it's
Chargers,
going to be
Raiders.
Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell.
Who?
Yep, that's our quarterback battle.
I'm gonna probably take the Raiders just because the Raiders are at home. Otherwise, I don't know, but the Raiders are favored by 3. I'll probably take that because the Raiders are the home team, and I think at this point the Chargers feel what's happening. Plus, they're on their backup quarterback for the first week. I don't know how good they'll look offensively. This may be a 3-0 game. I don't know. This game's going to look pretty bad. Let's jump to our Saturday games. We've got some pretty good Saturday games. Vikings at the Bengals.
With Nick Mullins starting for the Vikings.
I'm going to go Bengals because they're the ones that have been sort of hot lately.
I want to pick Cincinnati right here.
Yeah, Cincinnati's favored by 3, and honestly, I think that happens pretty easily. We got the Steelers-Colts. Who's going to show up? Which team's going to show up for both sides?
Do you want me to bet Indy here?
Maybe, but are the Steelers going to lose 3 in a row?
I don't know then. My gosh. It's
Yeah.
probably... Man.
Indy lost last week, so Indy's at home coming off of a loss, so you would think Indy. I would probably stick with the Indy just because they're at home coming off of a loss.
And the Steelers offense still...
And the Steelers offense is really struggling because Pickett's still injured.
And they
So,
got MVP Mitch.
MVP Mitch back there. He looks just as good as he always has. We'll just put it that way. We got the Broncos-Lions, maybe the best game that day. The Lions need to win really, really badly, and the Broncos need to win really, really badly. Both
So
of
this
these,
is going to be big.
this is a big game. Both of the Lions need to win to keep their lead in the division, and the Broncos need to win
you want
to keep in the hunt for the playoffs.
Do you want Sergeant Sean Payton or do you want military Dan Campbell?
I don't know. Honestly, Detroit's favored by 4.5, and I think that might be too much. Detroit might win, but I think this
By
is
3.
I think this is a close game. It might be a 27-24. Even maybe a 26-25. It might be maybe a 1-point game, but I would probably lean Broncos plus 4.5 at this point because the Broncos seem to be surging while the Lions are
Teetering back and forth.
Teetering, yeah. Sunday, talk about your team first. We got the Falcons, Panthers.
Falcons by 28. I don't.
Atlanta's only favored by 3. Are you going to take Atlanta?
Plus 28.
You know,
My team is terrible. They can't score. They can't defend. They don't even have an owner.
This is going to be the week they pull it together.
You sure about that?
No. But anyways, yeah. My Cowboys play a 4 o'clock game, but we'll go ahead and talk about it here first too. This is probably the game of the week. Cowboys at the Bills. The Bills, again, both of these teams need this really, 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 really badly. The Cowboys need it to prove they can actually win a road game against a good team, which they have not yet this year. They've lost all 3. But the Bills need this to stay in the playoff hunt.
And it's ultimately up to Joe Brady and to get the Bills going, and it's up to McCarthy, who happens to have that Denny's menu that happens to be right in front of his face.
And him and Dak look like they're cooking on the same menu. So,
it's
but
like
again,
it's a special burger entree with some fries.
Yeah, I'm sort of biased to the Cowboys because I love the Cowboys, but I respect the Bills, and I really like Josh Allen. This was a tough one for me to call, so I'm going to let you call it. Buffalo's favored by 2. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Cowboys are going to sneak out a win, or do you think Buffalo holds home field?
Welcome to the wormhole.
Welcome to the wormhole. As a Cowboys fan, I hope they're this good, but as a Cowboys fan,
You're in the wormhole.
they're probably not this good.
And Jerry Jones has blinded you with the Force magic.
Yeah. Honestly, I probably would lean Buffalo at home.
They're desperate.
Because they're in desperate mode. They're going to pull out every stop they can to win this game because they need to be 8-6 more than the Cowboys need to be 11-3. We got the Jets, Dolphins.
Miami will not lose to the New York Jets.
They shouldn't.
Oh, Big Al, I am very happy that your team got a win last week, definitely.
But did the Dolphins lose 2 in a row at home?
I don't think that would happen.
No. Dolphins are favored by 9.5. They should pull that out. Texans, Titans.
C.J. Stroud plays. I think they win this.
C.J. Stroud plays. They win. Tennessee play. C.J. Stroud doesn't play. Tennessee wins because the Texans are going to have to stop Derrick Henry this week.
And Derrick Henry usually tortures them.
Yeah, I would. Like I said, I would lean Tennessee unless C.J. Stroud plays. Bucks, Pack.
That's a big one.
That's a huge game. Both of these teams are trying to get into the playoffs. Whoever loses this game is probably going to be on the outside looking in unless
Baker
they go on a
Mayfield
run.
versus the upcoming Jordan Love.
Yeah, Green Bay's favored by 3.5.
Now, who's the better head coach here? Matt LaFleur or Todd Bowles? That's the answer.
You would think Matt LaFleur would be the better of the coach. I think Mayfield's the better of the quarterbacks, but
Coaching
LaFleur's better
makes
of the coach.
everything.
Yeah. So, we'll take some Pack minus 3.5. Got the Giants, Saints.
This has also turned out to be a game to watch.
This is a game to watch too. Both of these teams are trying to push their way into the playoffs.
You know what? I'm gonna ride with Tommy DeVito and company. I've got the G-Man.
Again, New Orleans favored by 6. I think that's too much.
I've got the G-Man.
Again, I think this is a 3-point game. So G-Man plus 6. We got the Bears, Browns. Which team shows up?
Which team shows up? That is okay. Will the Bears continue to surge, or will the Browns continue to put their statement on a playoff berth?
I'm a Flacco believer now.
You're a Flacco?
I'm a Flacco. And until he crashes back down to earth, I'm going to ride Jet Flacco.
And
So-
they're at home, so Cleveland's
Yeah.
only lost one game all year at home. So.
Yeah, and their defense is good.
And their fan base, I want to give them credit. They got a rabid fan base.
Oh, they do have it. The Browns have always had a good fan
Just
base.
like
yeah.
the Bills, they have a rabid dog pound over there.
Mm-hmm. We got the Chiefs, Patriots. If the Chiefs don't win this by 20, something's wrong. I don't. But again, I don't know. You got the Naxter pulling the offensive strings. I don't know, but the Chiefs are favored by 7.5. They should at least win.
They
by
should,
10.
yeah.
They should. We got the 49ers Cardinals. This may be the blowout of the week.
San Francisco by
By
30.
By 30, yeah. The line's 12. I don't know why it's so that low, to be honest. We got the Commanders, Rams.
Rams by 100.
The Rams, the line on that 6.5. Rams, yeah. We got the Ravens, Jaguars. This is a good game. Jaguars coming off of a loss at home. Ravens have won a lot of close games this year. Can they beat Jaguar in
Duval.
Duval?
I think I might get me some Jacksonville here.
I'm feeling some Jacksonville too. Yeah. The Baltimore's favorite, but by 3.5. So you're catching 3.5 points there too. But I'm feeling a little Jacksonville coming off of a loss. Yeah, I am too. And then our Monday night game, we got Eagles,
Seahawks. This is where I think the Seahawks will have their parade end.
Yeah, I think this is when they fall out of playoff contention. Philly's only favored by 3.5.
I'll take the bird.
Philly's lost 2 in a row. I don't think they lose 3 in a row.
Not now.
Not now. That's it. That is our picks for Week 15. Our recap of Week 14. Hope you had a little fun with us. It's always fun to talk a little football. But thanks for hanging out. Thanks again for SevereTV.com for setting us up in the studio. Thanks again for Autographs Plus. Be sure and go by and get some Christmas presents. And catch us next week. Getting close to the playoffs.
See you next week.